maybe unmuting a mic is better for streaming. Also, the camera is way out of bounds. Way out of bounds. Highly overexposed. Hey there, guys. Welcome. It is Friday, February 25th. And oh boy, do I actually look like a Friday evening. I am the embodiment of the Friday evening. That being said, today I actually have a Rockstar energy drink. To get ourselves through this shenanigans. And we're gonna jump straight into the game trailers. Also, I'm a dad. I'm full of whatevers. Cool. Move in with the first okay. First thing we're gonna take a look at is the Game Informer Steam Deck review. Big news all around is definitely the Steam Deck and Elden Ring. Those are the two main subjects that everyone's kind of covering right now.
For more dedicated PC players, it provides a chance to take what may already be an extensive Steam library on the go, albeit with only specific titles optimized right now. Either way, the Steam Deck is an impressive first step into a promising future of portable PC play with some significant
so that's how the mouse works.
The Steam Deck is
big, that's
at nearly a
cool.
foot in width and weighing in at 1.5 pounds. It's a bit surprising the first time you pick it up, even knowing ahead of time about its bulk. However, the advantages of the heft are immediately apparent, with spacious controls, a myriad of inputs, and most importantly, an impressive 7-inch display. The LCD screen is touch sensitive, primarily for navigating the user interface.
Oh, nice. Okay, so it's kind of like
are more than enough to make
the Switch.
Like Deathloop and Horizon Zero Dawn pop. And while most will likely plug in a headset or connect a compatible Bluetooth option, I was pleasantly surprised by the onboard stereo speakers, which offer crisp, percussive sound even at limited volume. While heavy, the unit feels good in the hand, with a pleasing round curve beneath the palms that is more like a PlayStation controller than the flat Switch handholds against which it's most likely to be compared. The thumbsticks are snappy and textured, though even larger hands will feel their placement is a bit too high for a completely relaxing at-rest position. That's due to the
fact that they're playing League of Legends on it is kind of amazing.
I enjoyed. The touchpad is functional for the games that need it in play, but I had trouble getting anywhere near the precision I'd expect from an actual mouse. The custom version of Steam runs admirably.
Children of Morta, nice.
Or chatting with your friends. I especially appreciated the quick access button functionality, which let me adjust brightness and audio settings and get performance overlay options that help tweak my tech settings on the fly. Valve has been improving performance and firmware right up
Loading
to release,
looked a little
so the
bit
device is likely to continue to change in the weeks ahead. Nonetheless, compatibility at launch isn't guaranteed. Many Steam games run well with little compromise, but others have notable caveats, from display problems to tiny in-game text. Even so, it's remarkable to see games like God of War and Dark Souls 3 running smoothly. In testing across dozens of games, many ran quite
I
well,
don't know if I would play necessarily
mid-range rig. Battery life is a significant
AAA
problem,
kind of games.
capping the frame rate, turning up brightness or volume, or otherwise taxing the
But there's a
system moves it
ton
into
of
the
good
space
games
of
that
fewer than 2 hours
would
of
work
playtime.
very well on a handheld.
If you turn settings down. At PC game install sizes, you should also expect to fill up the hard drive pretty quick, even if you opted for one.
Of course they're showing Elden Ring, of course.
Thankfully, I had good luck running games off a micro SD for a ton of extra storage. I'm also a bit bummed about the absence of an Ethernet port for quicker download speeds, but a sold separately USB-C fixes that.
Oh.
Like any gaming PC, the Steam Deck is a complex beast, and many features will likely change in the coming months. But as Valve's foray into the handheld market, it offers access to a wealth of portable games on the go that you'll never get on a mobile phone or even on your Switch. And for many, that should be reason enough to overlook any failings, even if it's never going to fit in your back pocket. Hey friends, it's Alex Stadnick from Game Informer here.
$650 for the max out capacity.
Fresh 4K shots. If you want to learn more about the Steam Deck, be sure to
Interesting.
subscribe to our page to stay up to date with Valve's exciting new machine. We'll be covering the handheld on the next episode of the GI Show, on the YouTube channel, and over at GameInformer.com, mobile phone, or even on your Switch. And reason enough.
So February 10th. Okay, it releases today. Half a terabyte is $650. $400 for the 64 gigabyte. I mean, okay. It's kind of a hefty price.
James reading for reviewer Alessandro Barbosa.
Like I said, everyone's kind of reviewing it. Let's see what they have to say. Okay, comparing it to the Switch.
There's been an explosion of similarly compact PC devices released lately, each with mixed results. While there are great devices out there now,
I don't know that one.
Neo Pro, they're still limited by the capabilities of mobile hardware while also costing a lot more than its performance suggests. However, Valve's Steam Deck addresses both pitfalls entirely. With cutting-edge hardware, thoughtfully designed ergonomics, a satisfying controller layout, and a software layer that simplifies PC gaming, the Steam Deck makes it a breeze to link to your Steam account and get started with your library on the go.
What?
Better yet, it comes in at a reasonable price, starting at $400
Was he
and
playing
reaching
Lost
only
Ark?
$650 for its highest tier model, essentially half the price of its closest competitors. The Steam Deck's design is as impressive as it is massive, with the entire device coming in wider, taller, and thicker than the Nintendo Switch.
Thick, boys.
This allows the Steam Deck to pack in a larger display, with the 1200 by 800 7-inch display, which offers vivid color reproduction, while also giving you ample brightness control for gaming in numerous environments.
I think these sort of games are perfect for this.
On the left and right of the screen specifically wasteful of space, but it's a small price to pay for a display of this quality. Flanking the display are two thumbsticks and two touchpads, with the former being one of the Steam Deck's strongest pieces of hardware. These thumbsticks feel remarkable, while also being comfortable and accurate. The tops of the thumbsticks are also tiny touchpads too, allowing for some fancy software controller configurations. The ability to activate gyro-assisted aiming while your thumb is on the right stick, for example, is a small but immensely useful detail. The two touchpads beneath the sticks are less impressive but no less useful, letting you play games that require mouse input relatively easily. Their tactile vibration as you move your finger across them adds accuracy to your input.
They're slightly not impressive, that they said, but they're functional. What do you want it to do?
Rather than just feeling
Impress
your
you
off entirely.
by not working?
Both the D-pad and the four face buttons are pushed out to the edges of the Steam Deck, which can look odd on first inspection. The overall sculpt of the Steam Deck also naturally places your hands close to each of them, however, meaning you likely won't be adjusting your grip or reaching out in uncomfortable ways to hold these buttons when holding the auspiciously large device.
It still looks weird. I mean, you're kind of going like this.
Mitigates a lot of its size and weight when you're holding it, avoiding the vice grip you need to comfortably hold other, thinner devices of this ilk. The Steam Deck's cooling is also exceptional.
It has under triggers.
On the back of the Steam Deck and another on the top, both of which push out
and on
enough air
top
to keep the Steam Deck cool under stressful loads. The fans are not too loud, but their pitch is quite high, which prevents them from disappearing into the background. Rounding out the inputs are the digital shoulder buttons and analog triggers, each of which features a satisfying little rumble at the end of each press. 4 programmable grip buttons also sit inside an area where your index, middle, and ring fingers will naturally rest, making them easily accessible.
That's really cool.
The Steam Deck's Bluetooth capabilities to connect other wireless controllers, which might be required if you're playing while connected to an external monitor. It could also give you a break from holding the device if you simply want to prop it up and continue enjoying the deck's great screen and surprisingly powerful front-facing speakers, both of which can get incredibly loud without losing much of their detail. The only big miss in terms of hardware on the Steam Deck is the device's rumble, which lacks the fidelity required to really accentuate actions within your games. The vibration isn't refined enough to make distinguishing between left and right sides of the device well. It's rather weak overall, and is certainly one facet that could be improved on if any future revisions of the Steam Deck are planned. The attention to detail doesn't
That
stop
was kind
with
of
Steam Deck
weird.
software. SteamOS, which sits on top of Linux, is very similar to Steam's big picture mode on desktops, giving you a console-like
I wonder if that
experience
was
when
real
navigating
gameplay
through
or
your
just
Steam library,
something
but offering
edited.
certain customization options that remind you that you're ultimately still on a highly pliable PC. Your entire existing
Oh, so that's
Steam
the
library can be
the
viewed
symbol.
on the Steam Deck, but not every game will be playable. SteamOS features a filter that lets you view games that have been deck verified by Valve to be compatible with the Steam Deck, while also
cool.
achieving various quality checks. Having this filter lets you quickly get going with a game
On
that will
Disco
show off the
Elysium,
device in its best
obviously, it's
light,
very good.
but it doesn't mean the rest of your
The
library
last
won't
Control
work.
Outer
Some games
Wilds.
miss out on some of the quality checks, which puts them in a playable but not necessarily fully supported category. Some games, such as The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, are categorized like this purely because of in-game text that might be too small on the native display, but otherwise runs just fine on the hardware. In addition to these two categories, Valve also labels games it hasn't tested yet as unknown, which may or
really?
may not work, as well as unsupported for games that do not run on the Steam Deck. Every VR game falls under this category, but numerous
obviously.
multiplayer titles do too, especially those with easy anti-cheat support that is still being regularly updated to support Proton. Games such as Apex Legends, Rust, and PUBG are all unplayable because of this, so your mileage for multiplayer gaming on the Steam Deck will vary at launch.
I think for
SteamOS
now.
features a handful of system-level tools to help you optimize your balance of performance and battery life, depending on the games you're playing. There are options that let you lock the frame rate to 30 frames per second, reduce the total TDP that the Steam Deck can operate at, and set a maximum GPU clock speed. A performance overlay is also available to let you monitor CPU and GPU usage, power draw, frame rates and frame times, and more, giving you a bit of insight into how your games are running in real time.
Well,
If you're
you're
making
dead.
use of the Steam Deck's micro SD slot to expand your storage, you can set either of the Steam Deck's internal memory or the micro SD card as a default install location, as well as easily move
Oh,
games between
that's
the two.
cool.
I ended up repurposing a micro SD card previously used in a Nintendo Switch, and found there to be a noticeable difference in loading times between the two for some games, and near negligible differences for others. Moving games between the internal SSD and micro SD card was also a slow process, lasting anywhere between 20 to 45 minutes depending on the size of the game. Perhaps one of the biggest incentives
Disco
for
Elysium is
regular
good.
PC gamers to invest in a Steam Deck is the ability to
think that
seamlessly
that's a
take
good
your
game
from one
for
platform to
this one.
another. With Steam having supported cloud saves for years now, it's no surprise that this feature works pretty well when moving between another PC and the Steam Deck. This comes in handy if you're wanting to take your game over to another display without moving your entire PC, but the performance of the Steam Deck is less impressive when moving away from its native resolution. Even at 1080p, the Steam Deck struggles to cope with the increased demand on most modern titles, which should be evident based on how they perform natively. The one benefit is that connecting to an external display is easy with the USB-C hub, even without Valve's first-party dock, which is coming this spring. One improvement to deck-verified titles, or those that might be updated to perform better on the portable device, would be the ability to install assets specific to its use case. Many games, such as
So
Doom
you can
Eternal
use it
and
as a
Fallout 4, feature
small
massive
PC?
installation sizes, in part due to their high-resolution assets, taking up precious space. Doom Eternal takes up nearly 100 gigabytes alone, for example. Another omission is the ability to continue downloading games while the Steam Deck is suspended.
Oh,
Once
that
put to
thing
sleep,
saw
the Steam Deck
some action.
terminates its internet connection, pausing any downloads you might have had going. After confirming with Valve, this is expected behavior, meaning you'll need to have the Steam Deck screen on and the device's fans
Elden
going,
Ring and Lost
even if you're
Ark, of
just
course.
downloading new games to play. Given how many different games you can play on the Steam Deck at launch, and with 6GB of VRAM and 16GB of system RAM, there's plenty of room for top-tier experiences to work, such as God of War, the recent Hitman trilogy, and Dark Souls 3, to name just a few. An early indicator of just how well the Steam Deck can perform came with God of War.
I think
which
it's gonna
not
have
long
a
ago
success.
really pushed the limits of both the PS4 and PS4 Pro. Running the game at its original settings preset, the Steam Deck was able to deliver a smooth 30 frames per second across some taxing sections, including the physics-heavy duel with Balder in the game's opening. This is essentially the same game that required a much larger immobile console to play at a similar quality level just a handful of years ago, so it feels a bit like magic to have it in the palm of your hands today.
Yes.
The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt showed that this level of performance can't always be expected to scale in a linear manner, however. While holding a solid 30 frames per second seemed fine, the game's frame times were all over the place, creating a lot of judder that rendered it nearly unplayable. This unevenness wasn't present in CD Projekt Red's latest title, Cyberpunk 2077. Using the game's new built-in benchmark, I was able to achieve an average frame rate above 30 frames per second with a mixture of medium and low settings, while traversing Night City felt remarkably smooth once I had capped the frame rate. Resident Evil Village was even more impressive. The game's default settings consistently ran between 50 to 60 frames, only wavering from a locked 60 frames per second when I was outdoors exploring the semi-open world. This is a game that is barely a year old, running better than it did on most older consoles, which certainly shows the potential for what a game making good use of Proton can do. Running these graphically intensive games comes at a cost, however. Firstly, the already audible fans ramp up even more, loud enough to be heard over the Steam Deck's remarkable
I gotta say, this little handheld device is gonna probably be a very good asset for casual players that might want to progress their PC games on I don't know, I'm talking now from that perspective. When you got time, you're not always going to have the time, probably, to go sit at the PC. You might do other things, or chores, or whatever. And this allows you to, you know, like, game on, progress your gaming experiences in your downtime a little bit. So I think that's cool. I definitely think that's cool. And considering it really connects to your Steam account and everything,
the Steam Deck excels at being a mobile hub for your Steam games,
first of all, you don't have to invest into rebuying the games that you already own on this on the Steam platform, right? Because you get them on your PC as well and on the handheld, so that's already a very big win, because you don't have to double dip on buying a game that you want to play on your downtime, handheld, and on your PCs, okay? Oh, I got another Steam Deck thingamabob. Compatibility trailer. Biomutant, Desperados 3, Genesis. Yeah, this feels weird. Desperado, Darksiders Genesis, Bikini Bottom something Wreckfest, Destroy All Humans. This is just the beginning. We will keep verifying more games. Okay, I mean, that's really cool. Now, actually moving into some... Wait, which one was the one that... I'm gonna leave this Life is Strange True Colors Nintendo Switch boxed version out now. We all know it. We know the game. We also know it's very DMCA-able due to the fact that it has highly popular songs that make no sense for the streaming world or any other kind of content that you might want to do. It's gonna be a pain in the butt. This is more of a game that you're gonna enjoy on your own. It's made to be an experience, right? So apparently now the boxed Nintendo Switch edition is out. I got nothing more to say on that. Moving to some actual sounds. Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Take it all in. This is a new trailer for the Kirby game.
Take on enemies. Even battle with 2 players. Use the jaw-dropping mouthful mode and dominate like never before. Take it all in. and Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
Available March
Only on
25th.
Nintendo Switch.
Nice. Breath Edge has a launch trailer for the PS5. Okay. If you guys don't know what Breath Edge is, it's a very, very cool space survival, base building adventure story with very high and very funny sense of humor. If Subnautica tells you anything about what kind of game this is, it's essentially something of that sort, only in space. And it is superb. The game is superb, but also, man, the comedy behind it, perfect. Next we got Roguebook, official Fugoro character trailer. Now we saw a little bit about Roguebook, the RPG kind of what you call it, the Slay the Spire-esque combat. Okay, 4 new hero combinations.
Follow close.
Cash in with coins.
Come on, heads. Come on, tails.
Oh, he's a gambler? Hell yeah. Stick fighting.
A satisfying strike.
Epic synergies.
Strike now. This is going right into the bag.
Available now. Nice. That's actually a cool game. The Ascent has an official Cyber Warrior Pack DLC for the PC. Okay, let's see what this DLC is for the Ascent. The Ascent is a very good twin stick shooter adventure in a sci-fi cyberpunky environment. Lethal Mine, okay. Dude armor. Nomad. Okay. New skins. Glitch red. Oh my god. Glitch green. Ultra. Cool. That's not even that much. $5? That's not a lot. I think it's worth it if you enjoy the game. Okay, what is Atelier Sophie 2? The Alchemist of the Mysterious Dream. I don't know. Let's check. Oh, okay. Oh my god. Is it like a full-on JRPG? Experience new gameplay features. Oh! Wait a minute. Is it more like a platformer adventure game? Okay, there's battles. Okay, there's JRPG mechanics. Got it. Okay. I got it. I understood. So, characters grind JRPG in a nutshell. Now available on the PS4. Nice. Okay, cool. Legends of Terra. Let's take a look at this. There's like what's new? Developer video. This is very loud.
Hi, I'm Andrew Yip, Design Director for Legends of Runeterra. I want to introduce you all to Brett Freeman, Director of Strategy, and Dave Guskin, Game Director. Today, we're going to chat about our approach to PvE moving into 2022. We'll also share some details about
PvE
and updates to our release and balance cadence throughout the new year.
2022 will be a transformative year for lore. We spent 2020 focused on launch, and 2021 was all about exploration, discovering what was possible with new game modes like the Path of Champions.
Nice.
But now that we've laid the groundwork, we want to build on everything we've learned.
And from what we've seen, you're ready for that too. In fact, more of you are playing the Path of Champions than all other game modes combined. And we've also seen nearly double the amount of players since the mode launched. We hear you loud and clear, and we're already exploring ways to improve the features you're enjoying most. Before Dave walks you through...
Dude, obviously, people are excited and interested in the League of Legends lore. They want to play and know stories of their favorite characters, their heroes, everything. They don't want to be handheld and pushed to the side in a PvP grinding, give me your wallet so you can be competitive with only these decks that everyone is playing. Nobody wants that. You want to have fun. And obviously there's a lot of fun in epic stories and whatnot, and conquering them on your own and stuff like that. Yes, give us more. Yes.
Through how we'll do that, let's take a look at some highlights
This actually sold me. I'm gonna try this game.
since launch.
I was actually scared that it's gonna be more like PvP, like Hearthstone.
To die with honor.
But if they're very much going in on the PvE aspect,
Sentinels, carry the darkness.
give me that. I like card games.
Oh my, what's the correct protocol here?
I enjoyed Gwent a whole lot more when I had like story things to do. There was
World Champion.
It's awesome to see all the enthusiasm, and there's so much more to look forward to. Heading into 2022, the team is focused on bringing you even more storyful adventures. And
I forgot what that game was, where it was like an RPG and you had to command, and you had like the queen, and you went around, and all of the battles were like the new Gwent battle styles.
Our first attempt in introducing this type of progression system, and since
Oh,
launch, we've
cool.
learned a lot from your feedback. With
Okay,
that in
that's
mind,
kind of like
we're planning to
Hearthstone-y.
remake the game mode to be even more immersive and rewarding in the next release. Instead of playing through the same campaign for all champions, we want to give each champion an experience unique to their story. And
Nice.
progression will mean more than just leveling up or getting new relics. You'll be able to chase specific items for new builds and customize how your champion legend plays through upgrades that are more intentional. For example, maybe you want to swap cards in your starter deck, or change to improve your passive powers. We're working on ways to give you more ownership over how your champion's story plays out. Now, an overhaul like this is going to require a progression reset, but that won't happen until the spring, so keep the feedback coming in the meantime. The team wants to hear from you so we can make the Path of Champions the best it can be. As our priorities shift for all this
Wait, there's gonna be a reset? That's gonna be like the perfect time to start, when everything's reset.
new content, some features like expeditions will churn out until we have a chance to reimagine a draft-like PvP experience. But as of February 15th, we've uncapped the number of times we can get weekly rewards, so if you've got tokens left, make sure you get your last runs in before the spring update. Thanks again, and stay tuned for more PvE news in the coming months. Now Andrew will take you through the rest of the roadmap for 2022.
Nice.
Thanks, Dave. First, let's talk content cadence. Bandle City marked our final region, so we won't have the same update schedule as we've had in the past. After a curious journey, we want to focus on standalone expansions that each explore something new.
Cool.
These won't always be the same size or even shape, and they'll add champions to both PvP and PvE. It's
Nice.
important to highlight that Runeterra is so much more than just a collection of regions. There are many champions who wander from place to place or have conflicting loyalties, champions that could also bring unique mechanics and depth to gameplay. We're calling these Runeterra champions, and they'll break out of traditional region rules.
Wow.
So how do these Runeterra champions work? Well, luckily, one of them has kindly offered to give you a peek behind the curtain. You've probably heard of him. Jin the Virtuoso.
Art requires a certain cruelty.
Each Runeterra champion has specific deck building rules that are unique to them. As an example, putting Jin in a deck allows you to include cards with skills from all other regions. This opens up a ton of new ways to strategize, and we can't wait for you to see how other Runeterra champs will shake up deck building in expansions to come. Next, a quick update on competitive in 2022. Seasonal tournaments are here to stay, and the best players on each shard will be able to compete for prizes, glory, and a chance to enter into our 2022 World Championship.
Yeah, this is.
However,
this is
year,
not for me.
We're no longer holding official broadcasts for each seasonal tournament. Instead, we're going to double down and devote all of our efforts to Worlds this year to make sure it's the best experience possible. Lastly, I want to talk about our balance cadence. We just saw a massive balance patch drop with over 30 new changes, and you can expect more patches like...
Don't get me wrong, guys. I love the competitive scene. I watched it in the Hearthstone games. Game. I did watch the championships and all that. I knew the players. I knew the decks. I was very much in the scene. I tried being competitive for what it was worth at the beginning. Very, very fast and abruptly found out that there is no literal chance in hell that you can keep up with people that are playing at that level.
Like this every other month. Thanks to your input, we've brought some...
As for skill of play, you can be at the same skill level, but the simple fact that they have this as their job, so to say, and they dedicate all of their time to it, it's a simple math. More grind puts them way over you on top. There's no chance for you to keep up or even, I don't know, like get ahead. There's no chance. No chance. You might even be better than them. Tenfold. It doesn't even matter. On a one-on-one, you would beat them like 100% all of the time. Doesn't even matter. You're not gonna catch up to them. That's just the way it works.
And strategies like control back into the limelight, and also adjust some archetypes to more reasonable power levels, like Azarelia, Yordles, and Kinku Wayfinder, who, as it turns out, was really just 3 Teemos in a trench coat.
What?
Beyond our updated cadence, we're always keeping an ear to the ground to solve emergent issues, even if they fall outside of
It's a nice zip up.
So keep that feedback coming, and the team will keep making
I
adjustments.
don't think it's a hoodie, but it's a nice jacket.
Now here's Brett to wrap things up.
With all the new content Andrew just talked about, we know you're wondering about rotation. So here's the official stance. It's complicated, especially for a game like ours, which relies on champions and their supporting cards. We understand the problems that rotation can solve and are keeping a close eye on them. By the way, you might have noticed a different loading screen last time you logged in. Or maybe you used the colorblind mode released last year. Or seen how Click UI has expanded beyond labs for better accessibility. We definitely want to keep releasing these kinds of quality of life updates where we can in 2022.
This is cool that they're actually doing like
let's take a look at where personalization is
QOL
headed.
stuff.
We want to continue making richer, more dynamic skins that have custom animations.
Onward, everybody! The horizon calls!
That's cool.
Who knows?
Better! Brighter than before!
We're also planning to add themed champion spells to all of the existing epic skins in April. Additionally, we'll release free Arcane Jinx and Vi skins to celebrate Lore's 2nd anniversary in that same patch.
Huh,
Lastly,
nice.
if you're enjoying the Arcade Battle event, keep an eye out for more events later this year, including Pulsefire in the spring. That's all we can tell you for now. There's so much to be excited about this year, and the team can't wait to share more with you in the coming weeks and months.
With your feedback and support, Legends of Runeterra has grown into something that we never could have imagined 2 short years ago. It's been a journey, but the real adventure was the Lux emotes that we endured along the way.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
The emotes? What the hell? Well, that was actually cool. What is Tormented Souls?
Rated M for mature.
This is something new. A classical of a survival horror. Wait. Wasn't this thing like out already?
Please, miss. You have to help me get out of here.
It has like an old school jank to it, like Resident Evil vibes. Oh yeah, okay, it's been out. I've seen people play this one. Where you need that candle, and you need to drip it, and you can't do anything with that. Yep. That is very creepy. Ugh.
What the hell is going on here? Who is filming these atrocities?
Ugh. This is donut my style. Out now for the PlayStations. Ugh. Nope. Alright. So we got a couple of things here. We got a beginner's guide and 7 reasons Elden Ring should be your first Soulborn. I'm not gonna go over the beginner's guide. We're just gonna do that. Hey there, Fritz. I am gonna watch, however, the 7 reasons Elden Ring should be your first Soulsborne game, because I'm actually on the same side, on the same boat, same way of thinking. So let's see if they can implement that even better in my head. How you doing? Presented by Elden Ring. Okay, this is a little bit...
You've resisted popular opinion and decided that Dark Souls, a series so highly regarded, so wildly influential, that it and its associated games have spawned the subgenre affectionately known as Soulsborne,
is that good?
Quote, not for me. Look, we get it. They're hard. There's no getting away from that. I mean, the special release of Dark Souls was called the Prepare to Die edition, which is certainly going to ring alarm bells for anyone hoping to dance through while enjoying the story.
Nope.
Don't worry, we're not judging, and we're certainly not here to tell you to get good. That's for the commenters to do.
Wow.
What we are here to do
Good
is give
pun.
you 7 excellent reasons to break the habits of a lifetime and make Elden Ring, the new dark fantasy action RPG,
Still think this is very...
games, your formal introduction to the twisted world of Efron.
Quiet.
We know that there are going to be some devoted Soulsborne fans checking into this video to make sure we're not leading would-be converts astray, so we'll also cover why Elden Ring's many changes are good news for the faithful too, because we're kind like that.
Let's see. Let us see.
From dabbled with non-linear adventuring in its 1994 debut, Kingsfield, and has continued to explore the limits of player-directed progression ever since.
Wow.
Demon's Souls Hub allowed you to choose the order in which you tackled its discrete worlds. Dark Souls offered multiple routes and skippable bosses through its largely seamless land of Lordran, and Sekiro introduced fluid vertical navigation for greater moment-to-moment freedom of choice. As From's first truly open-field game, Elden Ring is the largest expansion on this concept we've seen yet. While
It's
you can't
so
see
good.
absolutely everything the Lands Between offers from the get-go, the opening area of Limgrave provides a vast open space that you can explore freely. For you beginners, that means you won't be funneled into challenging dungeons and punishing boss encounters, and can choose to enjoy the sense of discovery, leveling up, gaining valuable items, and generally growing more confident in your abilities. Conversely, that means the opposite is also true for the experts. If you want to take a Wretch, the weakest starting class, straight to difficult areas intended for higher level play, that's entirely up to you, you madman.
Stupid
From
cat.
emphasizes that Elden Ring is firmly grounded in elements that From has always prioritized, and the aptly named Legacy Dungeons and the promise of New Game Plus will make you feel right at home.
Legacy Dungeons?
Soul's mastermind Hidetaka Miyazaki says
Distress
that he believes
Call?
more players will finish Elden Ring than any of his other games, and the game's producer, Yasuhiro Kitao, claims that it's a perfect title for those who have been put off by concerns about the games being too difficult. In fact, From promises that they have made a major effort to reduce player stress. Soulsborne games, like the similarly portmanteaued Metroidvanias, present increasingly knotty, labyrinthine worlds. Unlike the latter, however, Soulsbornes traditionally provide no map, forcing you to rely on your memory of its distinctive spaces to get around. Elden Ring is
Oh yeah,
kinder
that's
in
true.
that regard, with From taking some of the stress out of navigating its largest world yet by adding a beautifully illustrated map, complete with checkpoints that let you fast travel to previously discovered locations. We can
And
see
you
how
get
this
'em
might
out.
not be too revelatory to first-time players, but trust us, it's a big concession to accessibility around these parts. Additionally, there are Stakes of Marika, curated respawn areas typically placed close to areas that the creators expect you to have trouble with. This can prove useful for recovering dropped runes, Elden Ring's currency, and generally take the stress out of repeatedly revisiting challenging encounters, emphasis on repeatedly. Regular players needn't be too concerned though. The arrival of a map doesn't mean you'll be tracking objective markers and waypoints, so Dark Souls' organic sense of discovery remains. Additionally, the
No,
map
it's
is of the
still
overworld
very
only,
much
so any
Dark
dungeon
Souls
or
at
legacy
the
dungeon
core.
you happen across will still be an uncharted labyrinth that you'll need to memorize on your own. Traversing the expanse that is the Lands Between
Need for
entirely on
Speed.
foot would be a new level of sadism, even for From, so they've introduced a spectral steed. Travelling on horseback is entirely new to the Soulsborne dynamic, providing an
it feels
expanded
good.
suite of exploration and combat opportunities. This otherworldly horse is instantly summonable, which makes a lot more sense than your average instantly summonable horse, and it lets you gallop through the world at greater speed. Don't worry about the more vertiginous aspects of the landscape either. Wind currents,
That's why it
Spirit
can double
Springs,
jump.
will propel you both skyward, so you can keep riding around elevated areas. The landing would probably break the legs of a normal horse, so strike another win for supernatural stallions. Riding horseback brings a new dimension to combat too, letting you attack enemies from your elevated position, not to mention make a quick getaway if things get too rough. Just be aware that some enemies also have mounts, so horse-on-horse violence is inevitable. Spectral steeds certainly aren't some kind of stealthy easy mode though. Fighting on horseback is more an alternative combat option that's better suited to some situations than others, and dungeons have a strict no-horse policy.
Ah, okay.
The magnificent world of Elden Ring is the product of a unique and unexpected
Got it.
collaboration between
So,
two brilliant
dungeons,
creative minds.
no horsey.
From enlisted the help of a Song of Fire and Ice author, George R.R. Martin, to create the mythology of the world, providing a detailed, multi-layered backstory of
Oh,
grand heroic
okay.
demigods corrupted by the power of shards of the shattered Elden Ring. That fantastical history provided the foundations on which Hidetaka Miyazaki, the game's director and writer, could then build on in ways that even Martin himself might not have predicted. Players will be introduced to the Lands Between in the aftermath of a cataclysmic event known as the Shattering. Contrary
Cool.
to the stories told in the Souls games, From wanted to tell a more accessible tale where the protagonist isn't forced into conflict but is in control of their own story. Your motivation is straightforward enough. You are one of the Tarnished who lives outside the Lands Between until a vision claims that you must defeat the corrupted demigods to reunite the pieces of the Elden Ring and become the Elden Lord. Soulsborne games always
Interesting.
have a memorable cast of NPCs who can be reliably depended upon to deliver cryptic exposition, usually accompanied by tragic backstories. Elden Ring's huge open field
There's
also
a
means
lot of
more
NPCs apparently.
who will help to reveal more about the events transpiring in the lands between and likely trigger additional quests. You won't be quite as dependent on the narrative jigsaw puzzle that is piecing
looks
together the
very
flavor
good.
text from collected items, but fans will be relieved to hear that they still play a major part in relaying lore. From are the masters of fragmented storytelling, giving you just enough to create.
Yeah, one of the main things that these Souls games have is that a lot of flavoring. If you want to know a whole lot about the world you're living in and playing in, is with these things. So every item that you find has some sort of story to it. It's not just an item description, right?
A picture of the world's history while leaving plenty to the imagination. The wealth of items in Elden Ring promise that George R.R. Martin's world-building stories will be told. After dialing way back on character customization in Sekiro, From has turned the dial all the other way for Elden Ring.
Fight, flight,
This
or
is their most
stealth.
detailed, most flexible creation system yet. If you're anything like us, it could be hours before you even set foot in the lands between, and that's just the aesthetics.
Oh.
Before you hone your look, you must first decide on a starting class. However, as has always been the case with the Souls games, and in a refreshing departure from many RPGs, you are not locked into your initial choice. While you'll certainly have an early advantage in specific talents, if you feel that you'd like to switch it up from, say, a heavy melee user to a sorcery-wielding mage,
You can.
simply re-weight your stats as you level up. And with a wealth of close combat and ranged weapons, sorceries and incantations to discover, it really pays to keep mixing things up. As to how this flexibility translates out on the field, the open environments present a different challenge to the Souls games. There, the claustrophobic environments and deliberately limiting pathways meant that it was simpler for From to choreograph ambushes, leading to extremely cautious and heavily reactive play. Here, the greater visibility provides more opportunity to anticipate encounters and approach them in a way that suits your build strengths, or, if you prefer, run in the opposite direction and find a long way around. For RPG fans who are a little wary of the action-centric nature of Soulsborne titles, there's other avenues to explore. Stealth is a completely legitimate option throughout the game, and with the new day-night cycle and weather elements, you can use cover of darkness or the visibility-reducing effects of heavy rain to bolster your sneakiness. But let's
Oh,
be
interesting.
clear, with From promising a high battle encounter rate on the field, Souls-inspired legacy dungeons, and yes, those trademark boss encounters, combat proficiency is still a major focus.
Soldier of Godric.
If all this talk of
Spirited
battle encounter
assistance.
rates and boss battles has
So
you
these
worried,
are like super spells that you can
to stealth,
do.
spirits are a brand new element for
You
those
get
who
your
play.
own summons.
Throughout the game, you'll discover these friendly phantom creatures who can then be summoned into battle. This is especially useful for multi-opponent combat, as they'll interrupt incoming attacks and give you more time to concentrate on taking down individual enemies. Likewise with bosses, where they'll provide a useful distraction so you're less likely to be destroyed and given more of a chance to observe attack patterns. As with the other stress-reducing features, spirits have been thoughtfully implemented, and even though they can be individually strengthened, they've been kept relatively weak overall. They're also entirely optional, so if you have concerns about their effect on the game's difficulty, you can decide to forego the assistance. Co-op has
Someone
always been
lovin'?
an acceptable way to even the odds in Souls games, even for players who might have just been a bit sniffy about those spirits we just mentioned. Of course, From didn't want to make it too easy to pair up with other players, so the actual act of summoning help was made deliberately arcane compared to other online experiences. While Elden Ring hasn't exactly introduced lobbies and instant matchmaking, it has, in the words of Miyazaki, reduced the number of hoops you have to jump through. There's a variety of in-game items designed to let you tailor the multiplayer experience, and, in true Soulsborne fashion, Most of them are gross, with a particular emphasis on severed fingers. You can also add password protection when requesting assistance if you only want to play with friends, but as Souls fans well know, teaming up with experienced strangers can be just as enjoyable. Just be aware that anyone who joins you is subject to a variety of limitations. They are very much guests in your world, so they can't activate checkpoints, and if they die, they're immediately expelled and must be re-summoned. The asynchronous elements first introduced in Demon Souls make a return, so expect to see plenty of messages from other players to make you feel a little less alone in this intimidating world.
And the messaging system is weird.
Hints, words of encouragement, and the occasional piece of mischievous misdirection. Hint: if a message tells you to jump off a cliff, the only reward you're likely to get is a "you died" screen. For those more well-versed in From's complex approach to multiplayer,
so meaning
PvP
trolls
also makes a welcome return. Just as there are severed fingers to invite support, there are other varieties that allow you to welcome invaders or attempt an invasion yourself. Just be gentle with the new kids, yeah?
Brandish the Elden Ring.
Oh, that looks cool.
For all of us.
Did. Nice. That was actually very good. Very good. So, yeah, that's... I would love to try it out, but I can't right now. So, if that helped you guys into deciding and overcoming your anxiety of a Souls game, of dying over and over and over again, I would also strongly recommend Elden Ring to be your first implementation of this kind of genre. However, keep in mind that the game is still fresh. Streamers are dealing with a couple of bugs, a couple of lag issues. Apparently PC has some bugs and problems as well. Consoles the same. Apparently, like, the one of the better versions is like having the PlayStation 4 Pro version but run on a PS5. That's just something I've heard along the ways. Obviously, things are going to start getting fixed, and updates will be coming soon, so just keep that in mind. You don't ever have to rush anything. Obviously, this is also one of those games where if you wait for a sale, it could definitely be like one of your top must buys for the month or the week or whatever. So yeah, keep all of that in mind. Like I said, thanks for dropping by for the trailers, and we're gonna be moving on to putting some button mashing inputs and yeah, having a lot of fun on the way.